AITA for telling my daughter-in-law to toughen up. My wife and I are in our 60s and nearing retirement. We have 3 sons in their 20s and 30s, the older 2 are married and the oldest has a 1-year-old son. We all live within an hour of each other, but due to the pandemic we have not gotten together much the last 6 months. We even had to do a Zoom call for my grandson's first birthday since his parents didn't want a group gathering. With Thanksgiving coming up, we have all been staying home and taking every precaution so that we can all get together for the holiday. My oldest son and his wife will be hosting. The other day in the family group chat, my 2 dills and my wife were venting about the pandemic and how hard and exhausting it all has been trying to juggle working from home, childcare, family, etc. I made a light-hearted joke about them toughening up and told them all to grow a pair. My oldest son's wife sent a long message about how that kind of language is damaging and that if I ever said anything like that to her son, that it would be the last thing I said to him. She also sent a link to an article about toxic masculinity. I read the article and then sent my dill a private message telling her that I read it but that I don't agree with it and she should stop whining. She didn't respond, so the next morning I sent her another message telling her we should strive to have a complaint-free day. She didn't respond to that either. Well, last night, my oldest son called to tell us that they will no longer be hosting Thanksgiving. He said that their daycare had a COVID scare and they have to get their son tested. He said that they no longer want to host and will be staying home as a family instead. My wife is very upset by this as she loves family holidays and not having all her sons around this year has been very hard on her. I called my son to tell him this and to try to change his mind. I told him that as long as their son tests negative, that there is no reason we can't all still get together. I told him that we have all been staying home and taking precautions and I didn't want that to be for nothing and that his mother is distraught over this. He told me this wasn't a debate or a negotiation, he and his wife have made their decision. He then said he loved me but that I'm an asshole and should stop whining and complaining, then he hung up. My wife is still very upset that we won't see everyone for the holiday, but now she's also pissed off at me because apparently my son and Dill told her what I said to Dill and my wife agrees with them that I was a jerk. But setting everything else aside, sending her a message the next day for striving towards a complaint-free day was incredibly condescending and makes you a massive asshole. Complaint-free day equals no one's allowed to complain about my behavior. AITA. If I ever said anything like that to her son, that it would be the last thing I said to him. Clear, identified rules. I don't like this language. I read it but that I don't agree with it and she should stop whining. Totally dismissive and rude. So the next morning I sent her another message telling her we should strive to have a complaint-free day. Antagonistic. So you realized she was upset, and rather than apologizing, you told her she was whining and complaining. And now you're upset that she thinks you're being a dick. You were being a dick. Don't be a dick to people that hold the access to your grandkids or you lose access to your grandkids. Why should she put up with you insulting her? He then said he loved me but that I'm an asshole and should stop whining and complaining, then he hung up. Ha ha. You played stupid games, you won truly stupid prizes. Thought you held the power, you poked at her and now you're surprised she's not dealing with your shit. Man, you are the worst, do you know that? Told them all to grow a pair. I read the article, but that I don't agree with it and she should stop whining. We should strive to have a complaint-free day. Maybe stop being an ass. When someone tells you outright, that you've insulted them, maybe don't double down on that insult. That would go a long way towards the complaint-free day. Said that their daycare had a COVID scare, been taking precautions and I didn't want that to be for nothing. You realize your kids are cancelling for your safety, right? And you are whining because it's putting you out. My wife is still very upset that we won't see everyone for the holiday. Felt better that than dead from a fatal virus. You are like half the old men in my family, including my father. Nothing is as important as themselves, no opinion is as right or justified as their own. Take this falling out as a huge sign. Sort yourself out or you are going to be very lonely in your old age. Edited for clarity. at her. You don't have to agree with her on her points about toxic masculinity, but she did make her stance very clear to you. And you stomped around and stupidly poked the bear with that complaint-free day bullshit that you knew was rude. And now you're what? Surprised and upset she's doing what she said she'd do? Upset that she has boundaries and is enforcing them? Whining about not getting your way? All of those things. AITA for not telling my mill that my son is gay. My 41F son, 22M, came out to us as gay when he was a teenager. He has been with his boyfriend for 4 years and they are talking about marriage within the next 2 or 3 years. My in-laws are extremely religious and intolerant and my son has never felt comfortable coming out to them. He has no real relationship with them other than holiday/birthday pleasantries and we support his decision. We aren't particularly close to them either for reasons I will not get into here, but my husband feels like the less contact we have with them, the better. My mill has this bad habit with my son where she is constantly trying to involve herself in his dating life and has in the past tried to set him up with women she either met at church or on the street. One time she tried to set him up with waitress when we went out to dinner with them for her birthday. The other night he was over at the house and Mill called up my husband, 44M, on Skype. My son participated in the call to give his Thanksgiving pleasantries. My Mill began harping at him about when he was finally going to settle down and find a nice girl to marry so she will get to be a great grandma. She told him that one of her friends from church has a daughter that he would like and asked if she could give her his number. My son told her he wasn't interested and asked her to stop. She kept persisting and my son finally told her that he was gay and had a serious boyfriend he was living with and planned to marry. Mill flipped her shit. She ended the Skype and immediately called my husband and started screaming at him. She told my husband that our son was a disgrace to our family, and started chastising him for not telling her about our son's sinful life. My husband told her that it is not our place to tell people that our son is gay, and if she cannot support him, then she is a worse grandmother than she was a mother and should be ashamed of herself. My Phil and Sil are now demanding that we apologize to Mill for upsetting her and ruining their Thanksgiving. My husband and I are standing firm that we have nothing to apologize for, and if anything feel that they should apologize to our son for the awful things they said about him and his boyfriend. I was talking about what happened with my sister, and she told me that this would have never happened if we had told my Mill years ago that our son was gay. AITA for not telling her. NTA. She told me that this would have never happened if we had told my Mill years ago that our son was gay. She is wrong. This is exactly what would have happened regardless of how or when she was told. Bigots are going to bigot. NTA. Her reaction is not your concern. Telling her sooner would not have changed the reaction she presented, speaking from experience. NTA. It was your son's decision if/when to tell them, not your job to out him. NTA. Your son is the only one who gets to decide if/when someone learns about his sexuality. Your Mill and Phil are assholes for demanding an apology for ruining their Thanksgiving when they did it all by themselves. AITA for wearing earplugs and headphones to sleep and study since my parents had a baby. I am a 21-year-old college student living at home again because my college campus is shut down. I have a 17-year-old brother, a 15-year-old sister, and a 13-year-old brother. So, yeah, I was already sick of babies and babysitting and all that comes with that. And this year my parents got pregnant, and had a baby girl. She's 3 months old now. And I'd been going a little crazy in the house already because it's noisy being around all my younger siblings. Now with a crying baby too, sleep and school have been difficult. I started wearing foam earplugs to bed, the kind construction workers wear to protect their hearing. Then I bought a pair of noise-cancelling headphones for myself and started wearing them over top of the foam earplugs to bed, with a couple pillows piled over my ears. And I've been sleeping a lot better. I've also started wearing the earplug, headphones combination when I'm in classes or studying. I can hear the teachers through the headphones despite the earplugs and I am not distracted at all. I've also been wearing them when I am doing things like reading books or video calling my friends. And my parents and siblings have started to get upset with me, saying that I've been completely closed off from the family. I can't hear anything like my parents calling my name. They don't like how I can't hear the baby to help out sometimes. My parents like all the siblings to help each other out and help with the baby when we can, and say it's dangerous for me to be blocking out her crying because what if I'm the only one who could have caught something bad happening if only I was aware of my surroundings. They've also been upset with me because I've locked my door when I sleep or study, and a few times they've wanted something from me and couldn't get my attention. Like one time some of their family friends came over and they wanted all the family to come have brunch with this family, which I didn't really feel comfortable with visits anyway, but they were embarrassed that they couldn't wake me. AITA for wearing earplugs and noise-cancelling headphones after my parents had a surprise baby when I am in college but studying from home. NTA, but please make sure you'd at least be able to hear the smoke/carbon monoxide alarm if it went off. That was my immediate thought. I understand why OP is doing what they're doing, but that's a dangerous game, and then locking their door too so that no one could get in if they didn't hear an alarm. NTA, if they choose to have children they have to be fully responsible for them. They have no right to infringe on your studying or your sleep for free babysitting. Though I can't help but worry what would happen if your house caught fire. NTA, your parents had this baby, not you. If they want someone else to accept responsibility for their child, they need to negotiate the time frame. NTA, sleep and school are absolutely the priority for you. College is so damn expensive, you can't afford to do poorly because you are sleep deprived. Unless you have been specifically asked and agreed to watching your baby sister for set periods of time, she is not your responsibility. If they didn't want to take care of an infant, there were plenty of ways to prevent that.